It is abysmal out there from a defensive standpoint. Aaron Glenn, they went and found this defensive genius over in Detroit. They bring him over. Did they really do more interviews? No one really knows, but it is not looking good for Jets fans in Greeny. You're in my heart more than anybody.
Yeah. They play in London. They play Denver in London on on Sunday morning.
This coming Sunday?
Yeah. 0-6 feels
Across
like a likelihood, right?
You don't have to watch. You'll be hosting Sunday.
That's exactly right. I'll be. I would. Listen, let's not waste the time.
Almost dropped a couple of Toronto F-bombs there. He almost let it go.
Let's dive directly from Jets misery into Bill Belichick, which used to be tied together for a very long time. Now it's a whole other story. You may have seen it yesterday. Numerous reports that Belichick and North Carolina were already engaged in negotiations to lower the coach's buyout after what has been a dismal start to his tenure. There was all these reports yesterday. There's plenty of stuff out there on the internet if you follow it. Enough so that Belichick and the school released a joint statement last night countering the claims. Belichick said, quote, "I'm fully committed to UNC football and the program we're building here." The AD, Bubba Cunningham, said Coach Belichick has the full support of the Department of Athletics and University. Put your feet up. We have this covered from a million different directions. Let's start with Pete Thamel, our college football insider extraordinaire. Pete, what can you tell us about the situation with Bill in Chapel Hill?
Well, Greeny obviously spent a lot of time on the phone yesterday talking to both sides, and I think the most important part is both sides pushed back hard on the idea that was reported that there were preliminary talks about an exit strategy. And that came off in that statement. Now, look, it'd be disingenuous to sing Hakuna Matata right now for what's happening with Bill Belichick at North Carolina. Simply put, Greeny, it's not going very well. From talking to sources around the industry, it seems like a pretty narrow path for Bill Belichick to return. Now, North Carolina would owe him $20 million at the end of this season. If Belichick were to walk, he would only have to pay North Carolina $1 million. His hiring was very complicated, if you remember, Greeny. They undercut the athletic director, who eventually started to get nudged out the door, Bubba Cunningham, the gentleman who was mentioned in that statement. They've already hired his replacement and put him on campus. It was done at the chancellor and board level, and that's what makes things really complicated and fascinating at North Carolina. The highest levels of the university brought in Bill Belichick to produce a winner. And right now, in the 25 major NCAA categories, North Carolina ranks in the top 50, 5-0 in one of them, and that's red zone defense. They're the worst offense in the ACC. And simply put, Bill Belichick and Mike Lombardi have not built a good college football team. If Belichick were to return, one thing's certain, the whole operation would look a lot different. The staff would look a lot different. The front office would look a lot different. They need different results right now at North Carolina. They are not a good football team.
All right, Pete, stay with us if you can. I want to bring the group out here, but I'd like you to help us fill in any blanks that we get. Shefty, I know you've been working the phones on this a little bit as well. What can you add?
Listen, there's a lot of chatter out there right now, and I've been told, again, that they don't believe that, what's floating around out there. Okay. Now, I'm not in the college football world. Pete is. I think that we're talking about a lot of different things here. And Pete talked to me this morning about a talent issue. And Pete, you didn't refer to this. I want to bring it back up and ask you, what did it say to you this summer when North Carolina lost two key players to Ohio State and another school?
Penn State, Adam. Yeah. So amid the spring of Belichick, where the Us Weekly headlines were flying around, a couple on-field tells I think got missed in the discourse about Bill Belichick in North Carolina. They had two key defensive players, the two best players on their roster, simply put, went through spring ball, were coached by Belichick and his staff, saw what the team would look like, and they both left. Amari Campbell, who's now a big contributor at Penn State, Bo Atkinson, who's a defensive end at Ohio State, who's one of the Buckeyes' better defensive players. Now, they left for more money, that's certain. There is no more spring portal. They actually couldn't do that this year. But I think it was pretty telling that post-spring, the two best players on the roster with a chance to get coached by the greatest NFL coach of all time, who could seemingly prepare them for the NFL, had a couple months under him and said, you know what, no thanks, we're going to go elsewhere. Also, post-spring, North Carolina had to go get a quarterback. They let Ryan Brown go. He's starting at Purdue right now, and they went and paid 7 figures or close to it for Gio Lopez, who's the quarterback at South Alabama. Now, that essentially brought in a starting quarterback who was going to have no practice until summer camp. So the flaws and the cracks had sort of revealed themselves, and there were signal flares that there were going to be struggles on the field for Carolina, Adam.
And those struggles have shown up. Versus Power 4 teams, they're 0-3.
Right.
They've been outscored by 87 points. They've been outgained by 687 yards. They're missing talent. And we could talk about all these things, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's Bill Belichick coming in, Mike Lombardi coming in, adjusting to a new environment, trying to procure talent. There's not a lot of talent there, and it takes time. If they get that time, if they want that time, to make these things happen.
Get in here, Bustin' guys. What do you think of all this?
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. There seems to be a lot of smoke, and people had so many questions of how this would work out with Bill Belichick in North Carolina. I think those question marks are not only getting loud, it seems fair to say they're starting to get validated.
Yeah, just watching the dominoes falling through this process. He has the ending in his career he does at the Patriots. Then there's the ring camera saga. Then he gets a young girlfriend. He's doing cheerleading poses at the beach. It's been a distraction after distraction after distraction. And then they pull him into North Carolina, and you watch the behind the scenes of this like 60 minutes type of interview they do. It's like if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it seems to be a duck in the voice.
Yeah, it just feels like the beginning of the end. But it is shocking if that is the case that Coach Belichick seems to like accept failure of it. I mean, this is a guy that is the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, arguably. He's had one winning season since 2019.
Right.
Pre-COVID.
That's very surprising. And so, to Taylor's point, you've had the at least the reports of the New England stuff and the Drake May stuff, and then letters to donors that this is a rebuild, but that's not really the case in college football because of the portal and NIL, so that's not that often the odd behavior that he's talking about off the field.
Parents of players talking about it being toxic.
And then the play on the field. And I was one that thought this would work, but it feels like the beginning of the end. It feels like both sides should want that as well.
It feels like everything about this is wrong. Nothing has felt less like Bill Belichick than everything that has happened involving Bill Belichick over the last 12 to 18 months. If you were to fill in make like a Mad Libs and you just inserted all of the words of the things that have happened, the adjectives and the nouns, you would say to yourself, and you couldn't make up a more ridiculous one than all the things that have happened to Bill, the person we thought that we've always known Bill Belichick to be, the most serious, driven, focused football person maybe ever lived, to all of the stuff that's going on right now. Pete Thamel, thank you for jumping in here. We'll get more from you as we go. Again, if we get anything further on this, we'll take you right to it. In the meantime, we'll get to the NFL week ahead. An angry bird is landing in New York. Does Philly need to make a huge statement tonight? Dan will show you exactly what is wrong with the Eagle offense. Plus, was it wacko to trade Flacco? The surprising confession that tells you everything you need to know about the situation in Cleveland. By the way, Fitzy, Dan Patrick, that one was for you. Back in a flash. Get up on ESPN.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Horsemen, return the stolen Butterfingers and we'll return your lost head.
Never! Whoa! Done it. One